Alright my friends, part 3 is finally here, so no more waiting, let's get right into this, starting with Emerald Plains. This first trick is kind of a pick your poison type spawn peek, so you can either sit here and wait for them to cross, or you can back up a bit, prep your C4 and toss this right into their spawn. Check this out. If you're feeling lucky or you've been watching Snappy lately, then you could also jump out right after you toss it. Next up, we're using the new recruit striker. So this combo is very underutilized. I'm going to show you just how crazy this can be. So we're going to go ahead and smoke off the bomb chassis. And if you've played this map even once, you know that a lot of people like to sit behind there and contest the window. So once we've smoked this off, we're going to toss the grenade in the same lineup. And then in the confusion of all the smoke, you're also going to have to worry about a grenade. It's really effective. It gives your team so much space to move up off that window. And given that this is thrown from a relatively close place, you can reposition yourself however you want after doing this too. So our next trick happens to be just a few feet away. If you play this map, like I said, there's a few places like this spot here where it's kind of difficult to push up without proper utility. So if we are having trouble pushing that position, what we can do is drive Flores in this exact route. Just keep an eye on the timer in the bottom right. That is how you're going to successfully perform this. You drive yourself forward, and then as soon as that's recharged, drive backwards, jump as far as you can, and you're likely going to down someone or maybe even take them out completely. It's a great trick and it's useful on a ton of different maps. Let's go ahead and keep this quick. So Emerald Plains is done. We're moving on to Kafe. We are going to be using Striker for this particular trick because of the double utility set. This will work with any grenade either way. You don't have to be Striker. I would actually even consider using Gridlock for this lineup too, because if you already have a smoke in place and you have those tracks set up, it's going to make it that much harder to contest you guys dropping from the skylight too. And also just keep in mind, this is meant to be used at the very start of the round. So as soon as you rappel up, get that lineup down quick, start tossing whatever you want, grenades, stuns, smokes. It's going to be very effective early round. And speaking of smokes, if your team is kind of hungry for a fast rush, if you throw smoke in this exact lineup, it blocks off the double door and leaves no gaps. It is also very effective early round. Trust me though, give this a shot. You will be pleasantly surprised by how well smoke grenades actually work. Moving forward onto our next trick, this is a spawn peek that is absolutely impossible to counter. I did post this on my TikTok quite some time ago. I did some numbers, so you may or may not have seen this, but it is insane. Like, it is so broken. I hate it. Personally, I hate it. But from my experience, having that reaction to something usually means that it's pretty good. But as you'll see here, this is the other end. It's just really hard to see. By the time that you know where you're getting shot from, you're already visible. Here is going to be our final trick for Kafe. Make sure you make some holes above the freezer because you're going to need that for your sound cue. As the moment you hear the barricade getting punched, you're going to toss this C4 and it just lands perfectly right behind them. This is definitely top 3 C4 lineups on this entire map. Maybe even number 1. Like, I genuinely love this one. That C4 lineup will be the closer for Kafe, so let's move on to Kanal. We actually have a very similar C4 lineup to start it off on Kanal as well, so check this out. This mute jammer placement will be very important, you'll see in just a few moments. So to get this set up, we're going to go into the bathroom here, stand in front of the broom, and make a nice little hole leading up into the window there. Make sure you blow the whole thing out, obviously. So we're going to wait for that barricade to get smacked once. So once you hear that break, you're just going to toss it, fall back a little bit, and it will land in just such a perfect place directly behind them. You'll also see why that having that mute jammer in that exact spot is very crucial when performing this too. Well, I mean, not crucial, you can do this with any C4 op, but it just really helps to have something to kind of bait them into that. Either way, you'll find a use for it. Let's go ahead and get on with number 2. This is just putting you onto a power position when you're attacking. So from this angle, you can see bottom green, the middle and bottom platform for red, and you can bust a hole to see the server room door. And I mean, if we're being honest, this one just speaks for itself. It's a crazy angle that's very underutilized, so I hope you guys actually find a use for this, and I hope it becomes more common. Then speaking of angles that I would like to see more common, I don't typically use Azami for any of these tricks, but I think she is pretty important when trying to utilize this angle. So what we're doing is we're going to bust the top part of the barricade so that it isn't completely open, it's not that noticeable. We're going to go upstairs, bust a big old hole here, place 2 Kiba barriers to kind of protect you from other places on the top floor, and then when you look down through this angle again, it's nearly impossible to see you. It's another one of those angles where the moment that you know that you're visible, you've been visible too long. If you play this angle or play this room with a duo with this exact strat, I think your chances of winning are like actually 80% higher. It is so difficult to counter this. Now, unfortunately, so my phone does not explode while rendering, I do have to cut this video here, but if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to make sure to have the next parts out very soon. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.